Just so you know, in Microsoft Word, researching and looking up words means the exact same thing. If you want to find synonyms for words, antonyms, or even translations, for example, they can all be done from the research pane. And in the last lesson, we found synonyms using the built-in thesaurus. Now let's look up translations for words. We're using Job Posting 13. That's the name of the document up here in the title bar. And if you're jumping to this lesson and you haven't followed along with us to this point, no problem. You can catch up by going to the Office button, then down to Open, navigating to the Lesson 7 folder, and clicking Job Posting 14, and then Open. So here's our document that we're going to work with. I want to show you how to activate the research pane next, and you can do it a couple different ways. Let's say down here in our first bullet, we want to look up a word like internal here. Well, we can right click on the word internal and then simply come up here to look up. When I click it, the research pane is launched. The word internal shows up inside the search field. And down below you can see that all reference books are open right now. I got the Encarta Dictionary, Thesaurus, translation shows up down below. Yours may not all be expanded like this. Some of them may have plus signs, and that means that they are collapsed and can be expanded. So I'm just going to close up my research pane and show you the other way, which is to highlight the word. I'm going to double click internal this time, go up to the Review tab on the ribbon, and over here in the proofing group on the left hand side I've got the research button. Now because I selected internal ahead of time, when I click research, the research pane opens up and the word internal shows up in the search for field. Excellent. So just for fun, let's go down to in-house over here, click the drop-down arrow to the right, and insert it to replace internal with in-house. So that makes sense. Alright, this next feature I love, and I use it a lot. You see, I live in a country that is officially designated as bilingual. In Canada, our two official languages are English and French. Now, I'm English speaking, obviously, so I often need help with French words. The word patisserie. I mean, we see it all over our documents, and we've seen it in many of the documents we've been working with to this point, but do you really know the translation? It's a French word, so let's look it up in English. We need to find the word patisserie, and we don't have to look far. It's right here in the first line of the first paragraph. I'm going to right-click it, and I'm going to go down to Look Up. So my research pane's already open. It stays open, but now the search for field is filled with the word patisserie. I'm going to go down to translation, make sure that it's expanded, and when I click the plus sign, you can see that there are no results found. Why is that? Because by default we're translating from English to French, when really patisserie is a French word that we need translated to English, so just the opposite. So I'm going to click this drop down in the From field and change it to French, and automatically it will be translating to English. As I scroll down, there's my word, patisserie. You can see it's a feminine word, and down below it means cake shop. Cool. Alright, so we can get translations for our words just like that. Now, this next feature is kind of cool as well. If you use translations a lot, what you can do is have screen tips appear with translations whenever you hover over words with your mouse. And here's how you do that. Let's just pick any old word like the word design right here. I'm going to right-click it, and I'm going to come down to Translate, and you'll see that there's a check mark down here next to Turn Off Translation Screen Tip. So by default, it's turned off. But let's say I wanted to see translations in French. Then I would click French. Now all I have to do is hover over a word, any word like involved, and I'm going to see, it's an adjective, and I can see compliqué is the word. If I hover over design, there's another translation. It's a noun. Or if I want to use the verb, which is a transitive verb, you can see it's a different translation. So kind of neat. I'm getting synonyms, plus I'm also getting the translation to French. If I right-click and go down to Translate and choose a different language, same thing. For example, Spanish. Now as I hover over words, I'm going to see the Spanish translations. To turn that off when you're done with it, no problem. Right-click any old word, go over to Translate, and go back down here to Turn Off Translation Screen Tip. And when we click that, notice as we hover over words, we don't get those translations popping up. Alright, so enjoy having a built-in translator at your fingertips. Next, we're going to look at some of the many proofing options you have to choose from, including translation options, spelling options, and those automatically correcting options you often come across.